The Show Me State racks up some big numbers during its first week of deer season for firearms. KOAM News at 10 is next. Now at 10, deer season for firearms starts with a bang as hunters bag big numbers in the Show Me State. Plus, some kids in Joplin enjoyed a stress-free reading session thanks to some four-legged fur buddies. And the community of Girard came out to enjoy a craft night at the public library.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A pair of brothers received sentencing for an Oklahoma murder conviction. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Tanya Bach. Cody Buzzard was sentenced today to 15 years for 1 count of second-degree murder and 10 years for 1 count of discharging a firearm. The sentences will run consecutively. Dakota Buzzard was also sentenced today to 78 months for conspiracy to carry, use, brandish, and discharge a firearm during or in relation to a crime of violence. Their father, James Buzzard, was found guilty in federal court but will be sentenced at a later date. Joplin police released the identity of the woman who was struck and killed by an SUV in the Sam's Club parking lot on Saturday. Authorities say the SUV was turning slowly into a parking aisle from the main drive in front of the store when 69-year-old Connie Bennett of Columbus was walking toward the store. Bennett was taken to the hospital but has since died from her injuries. Authorities in Aurora and Marionville say a man is dead after a house fire yesterday. Upon arrival, crews discovered the rear area of the house fully involved. While battling the blaze, firefighters found an elderly male inside. He was taken outside where resuscitation efforts began. Those efforts to save his life were not successful, and the victim, 80-year-old William Medlin of Aurora, passed away. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Yeah, and it actually turned out to be a great day for us today. Temperatures were fantastic across the region. 72 was our high, which is well above our average high of 59 degrees. And if you like these type of temperatures, then you're going to like the forecast as we go through the next few days. Outside right now, we have cooled down. Most of us sitting low to mid 40s, and we're going to get we're decently close to our overnight lows. I think we'll drop off a few more notches over the next couple hours. But we do have some clouds which have been kind of filtering in at least over the past couple hours. And we are going to have partly cloudy skies tonight into tomorrow morning as a wave kind of rotates off to our south. But here's what we're working on. Mild most of the week, above average temperatures. We do get a cold front on Friday. Watching a storm system early next week too. So we're going to be talking about all that coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, the Missouri Department of Conservation reports 90,000 deer killed during firearms opening weekend. And that means butcher shops across the state are seeing a high demand for deer processing. Downrange Butcher Shop in Joplin says they received more than 60 deer since the weekend. They believe the influx is because other shops are not processing deer due to regulations, and they're expecting the demand to grow.
Any deer that's coming from out of state, now Kansas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, has to be completely no skin, no hair at all, no antlers, no bone, anything. It has to completely be cut up into meat and then brought to us across the state line.
According to the Missouri Department of Conservation, hunters bagged roughly 2,000 deer in Jasper, Newton, and McDonald counties. Cherokee County Sheriff's deputies have been responding to an increase in vehicle crashes involving deer recently as deer become more active this time of year. Sheriff David Groves warns drivers deer are particularly active around dawn and dusk, so be extra vigilant during those times. Drive with your bright lights on if there are no oncoming vehicles, scan the road ditches, and resist taking avoidance maneuvers. It was a big month for the Neosho, Missouri High School chapter of the National FFA organization. The team went to the national convention and placed 4th overall in the poultry division. 2 members placed in the top 10 overall for individuals. Caleb Lonkerich placed 8th and Braden Selgaby placed 1st overall. Congratulations to everyone. Well, kids in Joplin were given a pressure-free opportunity to fine-tune their reading skills while making some new furry friends. KOAM's Elise Noe shares how the kids and the animals are benefiting from the readings.
Kids in Joplin had the opportunity to read to some furry friends at the Joplin Humane Society's Shelter Pal reading. The readings happen every second Monday of the month and provide kids in the area a chance to practice reading out loud while hanging out with their new pals.
It's good for the kids because they get a chance to read to the pets without any kind of anybody looking at them and being worried that they're reading it wrong or saying a word wrong, and it's calming for the pets.
Reading to the pets can help reduce stress for the shelter animals, some of whom have had a hard life.
As you sit there, you can tell it's quiet. If the kids hold still and they read to them, all of the dogs will just be quiet, and it's so neat to see.
And it's not just the volunteers and vets who take notice. The kids see it too.
The dogs, I definitely love being around all the animals, but the dogs, when you start reading to them, they will calm down and they'll lay down and listen.
This sense of comfort is a two-way street, especially for kids like Shyla Vodka, who has dyslexia but feels understood by the animals.
And they're not like my English teacher where if I accidentally mess up, they'll call me out for it because they're just listening to me, and it helps me learn a lot, and it helps my speech and my vocabulary.
In Joplin, Elise Noe, KOAM News.
Around 40 kids attended this month's readings. The next one will be held December 12th. The Girard Public Library today gave an old book a new use. The library hosted a community craft night. Folks came out and created a turkey centerpiece out of a used book just in time for Thanksgiving.
I really enjoy it. I like being creative, and I think as a library we can offer these programs. Some people may not have access or the ability to come up with these ideas on their own, so it's a way for us to reach more members of our community and get more interest into the library.
The Girard Public Library will be hosting other events before the end of the year, including a Lego night and a paint night. The Joplin Public Library is connecting stories with the great outdoors permanently. The library installed a permanent story walk in its outdoor classroom. It provides an opportunity for families to read a book through pages installed along the path. The first story part of the walk is We All Play by Julie Flett.
And those temporary story walks have been great, but they have their drawbacks. And so having something more permanent, more sturdy, allows us to continue doing those story walk projects throughout the year.
The story walk was paid for with a donation from Logan, Emily, Reed, and Marianne Stanley. Coming up, lawmakers once again scramble against the clock to agree on a way to keep the government funded past the newest deadline, Friday at midnight. And
civilians being used as human shields. I'm Skyler Henry detailing the latest from the Israel-Hamas war, as officials here in Washington say they're concerned about those potentially being caught in the crossfire.
There's a lot to say about what makes Ford Escape
engineered metal buildings and more. Call for a consultation appointment today.
federal employees are closely watching what is happening on Capitol Hill this week. Congress needs to act, or else all except essential workers will go home, and all federal employees will go without a paycheck just before the holidays. Congress has until this Friday to pass a spending bill to keep the government open, and with lawmakers running right up into the deadline once again, federal employees are worried about their paychecks right before the holidays. House Speaker Mike Johnson has proposed a two-step stopgap measure to extend funding through January 19th for agencies including transportation, housing, agriculture, and energy. The other agencies, including Defense, Homeland Security, and the state, would be funded through February 2nd. Speaker's plan could come up for a vote in the House as early as Tuesday. The Supreme Court today adopted a code of ethics that will now govern the justices. It's an attempt to improve public confidence in the High Court after months of headlines alleging some justices appear to have potential ethics violations. The new code is based on an existing code of conduct for lower courts. According to a statement from the court, it has been adapted to the, quote, unique institutional setting of the Supreme Court. Palestinian health officials warn of a worsening crisis with fierce battles taking place outside hospitals, trapping patients inside. The World Health Organization says Gaza's largest hospital is surrounded by Israeli soldiers and is no longer functioning. Skylar Henry reports on the latest.
The Israel Defense Forces released images it says show hostages were likely held at Rantisi Hospital in Gaza. Troops say they found explosive belts, grenades, weapons, and missiles, as well as a bullet-riddled motorcycle believed to have been used in the massive terror attack on southern Israel. An operational tunnel shaft leading to the area of the home of a senior Hamas naval commander was also uncovered, according to the IDF. For days, battles between Israeli troops and Hamas have been raging around several Gaza hospitals. Residents have been sheltering and patients struggling for survival. Dr. Mohammed Obeid sent out this desperate message.
They hit the hospital many times. We nearly sure that we are alone now. No one hear us.
CBS News has learned that medical staff from Doctors Without Borders won't leave Al-Shifa Hospital before their 600 or so patients have been evacuated.
The Israeli government has told us as recently as today that there are and will continue to be evacuation routes.
On Monday, President Biden addressed the growing crisis throughout the Palestinian territory.
The hospital must be protected.
As Gaza's health system approaches collapse, Israeli troops dropped off 80 gallons of desperately needed fuel over the weekend. Israel says Hamas refused it, which Hamas denies, saying the fuel wouldn't last longer than half an hour. In southern Israel, volunteers collected the last of the remains of victims at a community devastated by Hamas on October 7th.
Every house here that had residents in or kidnapped or murdered.
About 1,200 people were killed on the most deadly day for Jewish people since the Holocaust. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
The CBS has learned a 3-year-old American girl is among the hostages held in Gaza after her parents were killed during the Hamas attacks. Hamas is floating the idea of releasing up to 70 women and children in exchange for a 5-day truce, part ongoing negotiations brokered by Qatar. A little later, Brock has the latest on a pair of local players who just took home honors for their defensive work on the gridiron.
Plus, how long are these really nice temperatures going to stick around? We're going to check that out coming up next.
Toy Box.
Together, pray. Together, let's drive.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another nice one for us today. We actually had a pretty good weekend. Temperatures were into the 60s, and then we shot into the 70s for us today. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Looks pretty good. We have mostly clear skies. A few little clouds have been kind of sneaking in, at least over the past couple hours, but temperatures looking pretty good. We're kind of doing this little squeeze box thing. I broke my foot last week, so until I can figure out a way to get around doing it at the chroma wall with shorts, then we'll get back on the wall. Until then, you get me in the box. All right, mid 60s yesterday, so a pretty good day. We did go lower 70s for us today, and I think that's where we're going to be very similar as we go through most of this week, actually. All right, temperatures low to mid 40s. We're going to probably drop off everybody about another 3 or 4 degrees, and then we'll bottom out through the overnight hours. Down to about 45 here shortly. Rebound back to 45 by 7 a.m. Then we're going to make it up near 60 by 10 o'clock in the morning, so that's pretty good. All right, some mid and upper level clouds kind of streaming through. We have an upper level wave to our south. You can see some showers down through parts of Texas, also along the Gulf Coast. This is a very weak wave. All it's going to do for us is give us some clouds later on tonight into the morning hours tomorrow, and then it just kind of rotates on by. Now, we are watching some waves starting to stack up out to the west of the Pacific Northwest into the Gulf of Alaska, and those will really start to affect us, especially as we get into this weekend and also early next week. All right, let me walk you through time. Tonight, low 40s, A few clouds in the morning, pushing 70 by noon. I'll stop this at about 4:30 in the afternoon. Most of us 71, 72 degrees. So a pretty good day. Very consistent to what we had today. Tomorrow night, mostly clear. We drop back to about 45. And then we do it again on Wednesday. High temps once again into the lower 70s during the afternoon. In fact, this is what we're going to see on Thursday as well. All right, day planner for you on your Tuesday, 45 in the morning, 65 by noon, 67 by 4, and I think our high temp right around 71 or 72 degrees. All right, let's go down the road. Thursday looks good. Upper 60s to near 70. You can see clouds increase. We have a cold front. It slides in Thursday night into Friday morning. We may get a few random showers. Not a big deal. Then it pushes off toward the east, but we're cooler Friday afternoon. And then we mainly sit lower 60s all through the weekend, but I think the weekend is going to shape up pretty good. Then we get into early next week, and of course next week's an interesting week because everybody's traveling, getting ready for Thanksgiving, and we have a pretty strong storm system that is going to pull out into the Central Plains, giving us rain, much cooler temperatures early next week, so a lot to watch as we go through about the next 10 days. Next few days look great. 71 tomorrow, 72 Wednesday, 71 on Thursday, some morning showers and cooler by the time we get into Friday. So if you like the 70s, which you did mention earlier that you're happy with them.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to continue to see them.
As long as we get some snow before Christmas.
I'll work on it.
My kids were asking about that.
I'll work on it.
They don't believe that we're going to have enough snow to have any fun with this year. And I said, oh, don't give up hope.
We had, I think, a white Christmas last year, or at least close.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'll look.
They want to build a snowman.
Okay.
And a snow fort.
Yeah.
Everything,
Yeah.
you know.
There you go.
Yeah. They're kids. All right. Thanks, Doug. Well, we get to hear him read all the time, but these kiddos from Miss Taylor's and Miss Chelsea's class got a surprise today when KOAM's own Dow Quick sat in for story time at the Family Resource Center in Pittsburgh. Dow read the kids a story and in true journalistic fashion asked them a tough question. What makes you happy? I'd love to hear their responses. Seeing Dow outside of the newsroom and interacting with these kids is something that makes us here at KOAM very happy. Aww. Well, still ahead, we're only 1 week away from a Kelsey Bowl rematch. We'll have the details. And it's the home opener for the Missouri Southern men's basketball team. Brock Beldridge has that and more.
At a super sale at Furniture Row, the more you buy, the more you save. Save $100 on.
Missouri Southern Lions men's basketball team went 1-1 in the Central Region Tip-Off Challenge over the weekend, and now the Lions travel back to Joplin for their home opener tonight. Missouri Southern facing the Central Christian Tigers for their first home game of the season. In the first half, Darius Dawson starts this game off with a left-hand slam. Lions go up by 2 early. Later in the half, coming off the bench is Winston Desisau. This would be important because he drains the three-pointer right here, and that's notable because that's his 1,000th career point. What a career he's had. Lions go up by 7 at that point. Still in the first, Desisau with a nice pass over to his big man. Sam Thompson with a two-hand slam. Lions lead by 6. Then right before the half, Desisau misses a three-pointer, but Avery Taggart rebounds. Desisau at the buzzer, yes! Lions go into halftime with a 20-point lead after Desisau beats the buzzer there. So in the second half, Lions have full control in this game, and Prince Agbays gets the two-hand slam there. Lions go on easily to win this one, 92-56, your final score.
Well, obviously, any win is a hard win to come by. I thought we were very solid on defense and just getting stops each and every possession. It's not just for the guys that played. It was guys that came off the bench. They really took pride in their defense, and that's what we're looking for. And I'm proud of them.
It felt like a weight off my shoulders. I'm known for a while that I was reaching that 1,000-point mark. So I'm excited. I'm appreciative. My guys made sure to get me involved. So you can't ask for much more than that.
Well, the college football regular season has officially ended for the MIAA. But 2 players from both our local schools earned MIAA Defensive Player of the Week. Ian McSwain from Missouri Southern and Rico Payton of Pittsburgh State were each named MIAA Co-Defensive Players of the Week. McSwain had a pick 6 and 8 tackles. Missouri Southern's double overtime win over Missouri Western last Saturday. Rico Payton, on the other hand, had 2 interceptions along with 4 tackles in Pitt State's win last Saturday versus Central Oklahoma. The Division I men's college basketball season is now up and rolling, and a few teams were prepared to hit the court tonight. The Kansas State Wildcats were home, facing off against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. K-State wins this one 91-68, second win of the season. Cam Carter led all scorers with 25 points. In the SEC tonight, the 14th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks were home at Bud Walton Arena. The Hogs face the Old Dominion Monarchs, and Arkansas gets the win there, 86-77. Well, tonight marks exactly 1 week until we get a Super Bowl 57 rematch between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. And once again, we're going to get a Kelsey Bowl. Travis Kelce and his older brother Jason Kelce will meet on the gridiron once again here in for next week's Monday Night Football game. The stakes are high for Jason because, well, Travis has never lost to Jason when it comes to NFL games. Travis Kelce is 3-0 when playing against his brother Jason. So that's a look for sports. We're back with more news right after this.
Now until Casey's has thin crust.
Country badge. We are proud to salute Bruce Mitchell, a 4-state hero.
Oh, I thought you were going to pitch it to me. You're not going to pitch it to me. All right.
This is your way to pitch it to yourself.
All right, weather-wise, looks pretty good for us tonight. Oh, man, I missed the 7-day. But it looks good for us tonight. 44 degrees, 71 tomorrow, 72 on Wednesday. It looks pretty good all the way until we cool down a little bit for this weekend. And it gets active next week. I can't believe next week is already Thanksgiving week.
I know, and a super cool down for it too, so
kind of cool.
Be a change. Final sports note.
Winston Desisel from Missouri Southern, congrats to him. 1,000 career points. I mean, that's a lot of points for college basketball. So, he definitely earned it.
All right. Well, yeah, good for them. And thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.